Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America Trading Corporation. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Secret War on Cash as we talk about various things that have an effect on all of us as it pertains to the financial markets, the economy, just some of the madness actually that we see taking place around us today. I've asked Chris Agelastos to again join us, one of our senior account executives. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Let's get right into it, Chris. Today, the first thing I'd like to talk about is, as everybody's probably pretty much aware, the talks have really intensified as it relates now to a government shutdown. And reason being is the deadline is October 1st, which is just a few short days away from now. But here's the thing, Chris. I'm sure for many of those tuning in, as well as myself, we have heard on multiple occasions over the years prior to now this same song and dance. It's no secret, our government is in debt beyond belief. It is literally, they say, a mathematical impossibility that it will ever get paid back. So it just continues to have the ceiling raised, things go on somewhat status quo. But in this article on the screen, as you see, for those of you who are viewing this, from CNBC, the former S&P ratings chairman is saying that the US is weaker now than when they downgraded us back in 2011. I believe that to be true, but given the pattern of raising the ceiling, should people just listen to this and say, so what? I mean, I guess my question, because this wouldn't be much of a conversation without one, what, if anything, is different this time?
Yeah. Well, I think the big thing here is the weaker than 2011. And if you think back, I mean, I know that was a little while ago now, but if you put yourself back in that place and remember what was going on in the country, we had the subprime lending issues, the housing crisis, people's homes had collapsed in value. In the stock market, a lot of people had lost 50+% of their retirement plans. So this is a big deal to be in a worse position now than we were, 12 years ago. And the political environment too. Obviously, I think everybody knows is nowhere near as strong as it was then. We've got a lot of divisiveness, and really, I think the challenge is not so much the shutdown per se, but what is this signal? And they're predicting at least 3 years of essentially economic upheaval as it's related to this. So it's just this is the first sign of more trouble to come, and I think that's the really big challenge.
I mean, and this is not my favorite time of year, Chris. Getting into the political debates, all the divisiveness, not even as it relates to Democrats versus Republicans, which is the age-long fight that we've all grown accustomed to. But now as we're going into the debates within parties, just all of the backbiting and everything else that goes on. Not my favorite time, but anyway, it's very interesting. Yeah. Thank you for that. Related to this, I did also see that Goldman Sachs perspective is not much better on the situation. Their economists believe that a shutdown is literally a 90% certainty. 90%. I mean, 90%, for those of you who don't specialize in math out there, is almost 100%. And as the old saying goes, there are two certainties in this life, death and taxes. Very true statement. That's 100%, death and taxes. Well, Goldman Sachs is putting a government shutdown not too terribly far behind that when throwing numbers like 90% out there. And what I found interesting about the article discussing this is they describe some of the things involved if there is a shutdown. One aspect in particular is how even after a shutdown takes place, if an agreement was made, let's just say a few days later, it's not like flipping a switch and turning everything back on again. They describe, Chris, how it could take a while due to the political season we're going into, not to mention all the spending bills that are coming up by year's end. If there is a shutdown, Chris, what does that look like? What kind of things might we expect to see?
Yeah. Well, the people that are initially going to be impacted the most, obviously, federal employees. So, active duty, military, law enforcement, border patrol. They're going to see it right away in their paychecks because the money's going to stop. Right, the faucet is going to be shut off temporarily. Now, once they put a deal together, they'll get their back pay, but that period of time in between, they're going to be scrambling around to figure out how to pay their bills, maybe get behind on things, late fees, penalties, issues like that. Now, if you don't
Sure.
work for the feds, I guess you can say, well, my paycheck's still going to come in, but you're going to be affected by all the services that the federal government provides that you now are not going to be able to use during that time period. So TSA security is a big one, right? That's going to cause flight delays, challenges with traveling. Maybe you've been planning a trip for a year, and now this is going to happen during this time window, and you might be impacted. So that loss of productivity when everything's shut down doesn't magically just come back. Everything's going to be delayed, and it just really, again, it just shows what a mess Washington is. I mean, the fact that this continues to happen and we can't get our ducks in a row in Washington is it's just disheartening.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it definitely is. It's a situation where, like I said, like we talked about a moment ago, it continues to happen in the same way. The ceiling continues to get raised. Um, you have to believe at some point, though, enough's going to be enough, and there's going to be a breaking point. And this is why, Chris, and for those of you who have been watching this podcast, you've seen throughout the course of it, we have two offers that if you'd like to take advantage of or at least learn more about, you can contact our offices, one of which is for our special report entitled The Secret War. You can contact us at 1-800-289-2646 or visit us online at www.swissamerica.com and find out a little bit more about it. Request a report if you'd like. Secret War has been in the 41 years now, actually, we've been in business, the most requested report that we've ever had. Or we also, for those even wanting to maybe take a look at getting involved in buying precious metals, we have a very special introductory offer on walking Liberty halves. And again, you can contact us at our office, 1-800-289-2646, or visit us online, www.swissamerica.com. So thanks for tuning in, Chris. Chris, thank you so much for being with us again. And for those of you tuning in, please feel free and comment on the podcast. To hear more episodes like this, please subscribe. Or lastly, follow us on social media. We'd love to stay in touch with you. So again, this is Dean Heskin with Chris Agelastos. Thank you so much for tuning in and have a great rest of your day.